Let's have an honest, fair conversation about Elio. An article dropped yesterday from The Hollywood Reporter that showed that they decided to cut out a lot of LGBTQ themes in the movie. Tons of edits were made, not just due to recommendations from higher ups at Pixar, but also to bad audience screenings. They had to make a lot of changes from what was originally announced a couple years ago to what we got to. It led to directors leaving, it led to actors leaving. But I think we need to have like an honest conversation about what the problems with the movie are and maybe why it's not doing so well. Elio started off with a pretty rocky opening weekend that is already getting it called a box office bomb. But I'm old enough to remember when the same thing happened to Elemental, and then it stayed in the theaters all summer, and it ended up making like $500 million, a little more than that, over the time of its span in the theater system. So I could see a real reality where Elio stays in the theaters most of the summer, not a ton of kids movies, animated kids movies, and people trickle in throughout the summer season and go see Elio, and it ends up making its money back and doing just fine. We have to have an honest conversation about the narrative kind of being spun right now about the movie. Because it had to cut some of its original themes, it's led some groups to think that maybe if it had kept those themes in the movie, that it would be this like profound example of something that's successful, and the reason it failed is because it doesn't have a strong identity in anything. But I kind of have a disagreement with that, not spreading any hate or anger or anything, but there was a sequel that really should have been a launch pad and made a ton of money, probably been its own trilogy afterwards, and that was Lightyear. And I'm old enough to remember the disastrous marketing of that movie when they kind of really honed in and focused on a kiss scene between two ladies in the film, and how that was a big selling point for the movie. And they also talked a lot of trash about anybody that wasn't happy to see that, and how they would go the way of the dinosaur. With all the setup for success that Lightyear had, being a sequel to a beloved franchise, all of the kids that grew up with Toy Story, the original ones turning 30-something years old this year, taking their kids to see the spiritual successor prequel with Lightyear, you really had opportunity to just rake in the cash, but you marketed it in a weird way. And parents responded how they responded. That's just an observation. I'm not saying they should or shouldn't support the movie. I don't think that if you had marketed Elio as LGBTQ friendly, that would have changed the box office for this film. I think the marketing itself was a little weird. They didn't talk about it much. Maybe they were embarrassed by all the changes and things they had to do, and they were already so invested, they just said, let's get it out there and see how it does. But the film is good. It deserves your attention and your views. I think that parents as a whole, we're just kind of over, like, why do we need to talk about the relationships in these kids' movies? Like, Elio's an 11-year-old. We don't need him to have physical relationships with a boy or a girl. We don't need him kissing people. We don't need any of those things. So I think that's where, like, the parent side comes in, where it's like, we could have different stuff going on, but, like, do we really need that on screen? Probably not. And I think the audiences have kind of spoken that that's not what they want to see or show. That doesn't mean that there's no space for any of those things, but it just seems to be culturally that's not really what people are receptive to right now. Anyways, what do y'all think? Did you see Elio? Did you like it? Do you think that it'll bounce back this summer? Do you think that it would have changed anything had the film kept in its LGBTQ friendly themes? Or do you think parents would have boycotted it even harder? And if you say anything mean to people, I'm just going to delete the comment. We're not standing for that.